Oh,
Hey, we're on there.
We made it. We are live. Hello and welcome to Time, a Sunflowerman project. This is officially week 2 discussions. Is that right? Am I making that up? This is week 2 of our weekly discussions as we roll through and discover what this project actually looks like. So this week, would you introduce the topic?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm Ruth, and I'm producing this story. And you are?
I'm Sunflowerman. I am the illustrator.
hi, I'm Forrest. I'm the author.
And this, in case you didn't join us last time, we are trying to create a story that's told through time-lapse illustration. And it'll be told one episode at a time over a few different weeks. What we're going to be talking about today is something that we haven't really talked about this yet, just getting started, but we want to do kind of an introductory story in March. It's easiest to explain it by calling it a prequel, but Matt pointed out that prequels usually they're set sooner. And this is actually the first thing that we're doing. So it's an introduction, but it makes sense to call it a prequel because it's
Prologue.
part of the story. So what we're talking about right now is how to do that, what we want to talk about. So Forrest, what I did so far in the doc is that I've kind of put summary of the history of the universe, talking about like how the backstory behind telling our story. So my thought is what I've been thinking about is I've been thinking about like what story and how much do we want to put in the intro episode, because we're still creating the main storyline at the same time.
Right.
How do you feel, Forrest, about well, I have two different ideas. Maybe this is a good place to start.
Yeah.
One is that I was thinking we could make the clock that's controlling all of time in one location. Whatever that location is, it's just like one clock. And my other thought was that it could be multiple clocks that are in different locations around the world. And each of them are altogether responsible for maintaining time. And so if one breaks down, it's bad. And then that could give us an excuse to travel around the world in our story.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of a plot line that I think I'm going to end up pursuing is multiples,
Okay.
and potentially even other such scenarios around the world where there is no clock and it is a person. So our main character can learn from these experienced figures who are dealing with the same issues, been through the same things that the main character has been through, and experience like different perspectives on the same information, because I feel like that happens a lot in different cultures, and people take the same stimulus in the natural events and create their own unique mythologies around them for folktales and things like that. And you have sort of mirrored stories in a lot of different cultures, and I wanted to play around with that. But my current thought for the introduction, just rolling around in my head, was that it might be the perspective of a person telling this story to their child and imparting this sort of family history that would lead them into being part of the secret society that's aware of this history.
Okay.
But again,
that person is telling the story to be a character who shows up in the main story later, or does that matter?
honestly, I hadn't even thought about that far. That's a good idea. This is just something that popped into my head just now, thinking about how to introduce it.
So you said that you liked the idea of different time, keeping time around the world, right?
Yes, yes.
And what do you think? So I feel like there's another couple of questions that we can about the timekeeper who invented these different clocks, and like talk about his invention of the clocks, or we can talk about that and also introduce the guardians who come after. What do you guys think? Should we just talk about the timekeeper or also try to introduce the guardians in this episode? Because right now it goes into.
I think personally that we should start out with guardians pretty early, just to say like this is a rule, this is a thing that exists in this fictional universe, because I don't want it to be like a bomb dropped on any of the readers. It's like, whoa, what? That doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah, I like the idea of the guardians being the focus of the prequel identity, or the humanity of the timekeeper, more of a mystery. I think maybe that's something. I guess I don't know exactly, obviously, where the story is going. Dwell on the timekeeper, from the one who developed the clock, do we? He's just a part of the history. The guardians, they're going to be playing a major role in the actual story.
Yeah, and that was part of my thought for why the introduction might be a story told from a guardian passing down this tradition to their child. And then that establishes from the very beginning, hey, this is a thing that exists, here's the mythology behind it, here is the sort of magic rules of the world. And then moving forward, as long as everybody knows and understands that, there's not going to be any massive changes. Like Lord of the Rings, you establish right off the beginning, there's things that exist that aren't humans, and that's normal, and that's maybe even half the world, you know? And so I think that's something that's tricky to do without, because I've read books before that they just sort of drop things on you and you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? I just want to make sure it's clear from the perspective of the reader.
Okay, so what I'll try to start doing, I'll try to start writing this out a bit more, so that you don't have to do so much writing on this part, Forrest, or are you interested in writing this part?
I think I can do it. I think we're progressing along pretty well. As far as just word count right now, we have what we wanted to be about 3 episodes worth. And we've still got quite a few weeks. And so I think I'll be able to keep up if I write the intro as well. But that's not to say that you shouldn't be able to contribute in that way if you're interested in doing that. It might be interesting to add a different voice.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have too much on your plate for writing. I didn't want to add this extra.
With business travels coming up, but I'm hoping that rather than being more trouble, I'll have more time stuck in a hotel room.
How often are you traveling?
Not yet, but starting in March, I might be traveling for a week, every other week.
Okay. For how long?
For maybe a month. So I might spend half of a month in Philadelphia for work.
Okay. That shouldn't really affect us. I can't imagine.
No, because I do my writings in the evenings anyways, and that'll just be less distracted time, you know.
Okay, awesome. So we've got a plan for the introduction episode. When we need to release it at the end of March. So when do you think that we need the story? Or how much do you need to be developed so that you can start planning an illustration? When do we need it to be finished?
Right. Here's what I'm going to throw out. What if we try to have the prequel episode done in 2 weeks, have it written and decided on, and then I can jump in and try to finish 2 weeks after that. I don't know when that is. Let me pull up a calendar. In 2 weeks. So it'd be the 19th of February to have, if this is crazy, to have the
And
text.
your illustration be done by March 5th.
And then, yeah, try to have the illustration done by March 5th. We have some wrenches in that schedule because we are going to be transitioning from Malaysia to Croatia during that time. Yeah.
I'll get started on it this week, and we'll see where we get. And hopefully I can get enough meat in there this week for you to start something.
Yeah, because Baselworld is 2 weeks after that. And if the prequel is supposed to be launching during Baselworld, this seems like a good goal to have, which gives us a tiny cushion in case we can't quite get everything the way we want it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, we have some goals set. Yes.
So if you're watching this, let us know. Last week we did a little more of a structured introduction. Today we didn't talk about any of this beforehand. We just wanted to give more of an inside peek into what the process looks like as we're talking together. So let us know what you like. Is this interesting? Is it boring? We have different views on that personally within the three of us. So vote and we'll find out who's right.
Wait, we haven't set any opinions to vote on yet.
Oh, wait, I think this is boring.
Oh, this version. Okay, I see what you're saying. I think it can be very interesting. I'm not saying everything is always interesting. It could be very interesting. So everybody vote yes, keep doing this style. Wait, you mean this like?
Yeah, do they want to see this much behind the scenes or is this too much behind the scenes?
The story development, yeah, sure. Fair enough. You have two things to vote on. One thing to vote on, two options. Do you like this much behind the scenes or not?
Probably more structured voting introductions would be better. I'll say that much.
I'll set up a Google form. Yes or no.
All right, Forrest, you want to give us our outro?
Oh, the best out.
Alrighty. Good to see you, folks. Glad you came along. See you next week. Constructive compliments only, please.